Dodge's MACHO Magnum XE GT Lean Burn 400. Dodge Charger changes in a Magnum metamorphosis. The new kind of Charger, Charger XE, failed to sell, so a slick-nosed, lightweight Dodge Magnum XE rides to the rescue in the profitable personal car market. It's also Dodge's new race car. Dodge had to race the 1975 fuselage-styled Charger SE through the 76 season, but fields this new NASCAR entry for 77. Dodge has gradually degraded and watered down the once proud name of Charger, so marketing metaphysicians had to devise a new name, Magnum, to denote exactly the same upscale, brawny, man's man personal car the Charger had been from 66 to 71. In 72, the Charger lost most of its personal car standard goodies in order to sell as a cheap but comely replacement for the Coronet hardtop. In 75, the old fuselage-style Charger SE was sold alongside a more expensive Charger XE Chrysler Cordoba clone. Last year, it added a rebadged Coronet hardtop called Charger Sport, so there were two distinct Charger bodies, but this year the Magnum replaces them both. In 1974, in response to the gas shortage, Chrysler started a crash program to lighten its 77 intermediates, which now are pitted against the downsized GM and Ford big cars. The new Magnum XE is meant to make hay with minimal investment and is less revised even than Ford's new LTD2. Mopar uses tricky engineering and lightening to offer the same brawny-looking car, but with better fuel economy. Dodge thinks that keeping the low, wide profile of its two-door B-body is a marketing advantage over the taller and narrower, sheer-look GM big cars. While GM and Ford emphasize the utilitarian benefits of downsizing, like fuel economy and maneuverability, Chrysler crows about the greater acceleration from decreased curb weight. The Magnum stems from an experimental lightweight or XL version of the Charger XE, described by Douglas Adams at the SAE Automotive Congress in February of 1975. The goal was a large, luxurious car with a big increase in gas mileage. Chrysler engineers sweated 630 pounds, or 15% off of the curb weight of a Charger XE, while keeping all of its luxury equipment. We recently spoke about the XL with Chrysler metallurgist Art Casper in Hamtramck, Michigan. Casper said they were able to remove 200 pounds from the XL's body and chassis. They removed another 200 pounds by replacing steel parts with aluminum and plastic. The final 230 pounds of weight came from what Casper calls interactive savings. Because the chassis itself is lighter, the axle, drive shaft, brakes, engine, and transmission could be lighter too. The Dodge Magnum production car loses about half the weight that the XL prototype did. Much of it comes from aluminum components. 55 pounds comes from the hood alone. The bumpers are new heat-treated steel. Chrysler's Casper says they are 75 thousandths rather than 110 thousandths of an inch thick, more than 30% lighter. Since they have a 100,000 pound per square inch yield instead of 30,000 psi, they can be less than half as massive. Magnum's floorboard and headliner insulation is 60% lighter. Front bucket seats are lighter and smaller and also allow Dodge to claim more rear seat knee room. The rear seat is only 2/3 as heavy. The thinner gauge glass is also lighter. Magnum's curb weight of 4,080 pounds is 280 pounds less than a 400 cubic inch 76 Charger XE. The reason the Magnum weighs more than the XL prototype is its beefy drivetrain, which features more powerful engines than GM's downsized full-size cars. A revised 49-state lean burn 400 with 220 horsepower is the new top engine. It offers 20 more horsepower than GM's hottest downsized B-body, the 400 cubic inch Pontiac Bonneville SE. Chrysler's lean burn doesn't use a catalytic converter, making the new standard dual exhaust cheap and practical. Though the lean burn 400 suffers a 20 horsepower drop from the 76 HP 400 V8, the Magnum's weight loss means with the HD trailer assist package, the 400 is nearly as quick. The HD package includes a 9¼ inch ring gear and 3:21 axle ratio. The leaner fuel mixture combined with the easy breathing dual exhausts and larger capacity air cleaner conspire to give the HD a 19 mile per gallon EPA highway fuel economy rating. That's 1 mile per gallon better than the standard non-lean burn 318 sold in California. The lean burn 400 rates only 1 mile per gallon less than the 180 horsepower 380 cubic inch lean burn 2-barrel V8, which comes with a miserly 245 axle ratio. High altitude cars come with a 321 axle, and California cars get a 271-to-1 axle. These models require a smog pump and catalytic converter instead of lean burn. The Mopar B-bodies also get a new locking clutch torque converter that eliminates wasteful slippage at cruising speed, but the trailering or HD 400 doesn't get it. With the lock-up clutch and 271 axle, the Magnum rates 20 miles per gallon highway and 14 mile per gallon city. Magnum's improved aerodynamics can be seen in the strikingly modern styling from the windshield forward. Magnum returns to the original Charger's hidden headlights, but Dodge doesn't want to hide them completely as they are new square headlights that lend the B-body a much-needed update. Ergo, the headlamp doors are transparent. The radiator-styled grille is replaced with a body-colored beak inspired by the 1930s Cord. Mopar has done much better than other Detroit makers in making good-looking 2-mile-per-hour impact bumpers. Dodge cleverly makes the extra length required for the bumper to retract integrate with the sloping headlight panel, granting the Magnum its pointy nose profile. The new fenders are lighter with longer plastic end caps so that the signal blinkers wrap around the side marker lights. A utilitarian effect of eliminating the neoclassical radiator grille is that the lower profile sloping hood offers better forward visibility. Magnum gets unique door sheet metal, trunk lid, and taillights to establish its own identity out of the successful Cordoba's long shadow. The GT model adds street machine parts, including 15 by 7 inch slotted wheels, GR60 tires, unique front and rear anti-sway bars, heavy-duty shocks, and firm feel power steering. We think most buyers will prefer the regular GT suspension to the unforgiving and hard-riding HD suspension of our test car. Dodge Magnum's appeal to the virile and hairy-chested is unashamed and unambiguous. This segment must be prosperous too, since the base price rises 10% from the Charger XE's $4,763 to $5,240. Outside, the basic Magnum has FR 78x15 radial tires, full wheel covers from the Cordoba, chrome window and wheel lip trim, wiper arm mounted windshield washers, and Magnum ID badges. Inside, it has bucket seats, premium door panels with courtesy lights, and shag carpeting, which is actually just 25-ounce deep-cut pile carpet. Of course, there's the requisite standard power steering, power brakes, automatic transmission, and 318 V8. In short, you don't get any more shiny baubles for the extra $477 than the Charger XE, but you do get an expensive aluminum hood and trunk lid. Magnum offers a long list of flashy options which can easily push the MSRP to $9,000. You want roof options? Dodge has vinyl roofs, half vinyl roofs, and louvers over the opera windows, and even an up and over GT stripe, and the Hearst hatch and sliding sunroof for sun worshippers. A variety of two-tone paint hues include pinstripe accents. For a sign of the times, just gaze at the glowing vacuum fluorescent digital display numbers on the new digital chronometer, the CB radio channel display, or the new signal-seeking AM/FM stereo, which now allows you to automatically seek out FM stereo signals. Mopar Intermediates offer a tachometer that gives them a big edge over GM Intermediates and downsized big cars, which do not offer one. It's big, readable, and accurate. You can choose a new aluminum alloy wheel that, ironically, looks like a deep dish wheel cover. The modified new turbine aluminum fascia 15 by 7 inch steel wheels are a bargain at just $86. The GT model's standard 6-slot steel wheels with chrome trim rings and hubcaps that are standard on the GT can be ordered on the XE model. These can be combined with hefty tires, including the HR78 series white walls or the GR60 Goodyear Aramid Fiber GT radials. Like the original Charger, Magnum has bucket seat standard, though a console and floor shift are optional. Inside, the GT has a nice aluminum plate dashboard and instrument panel trim instead of the XE's hoary old wood grain trim. The GT has a basic 2-spoke steering wheel, but it is leather wrapped, which requires a tilt steering column. Our car was one of the first Magnums built and had been torture tested by Dodge engineers. It had over 2,000 miles on the clock when we got it. It was a GT model, but had a different set of radial tires and was missing the wheel flares that are standard on the GT. We found the quality of assembly excellent, despite the trials it suffered by Dodge engineers. It had no squeaks or rattles, but the T-bar roof panels protested with clicking noises during our high-speed road handling test. We tried running our car through a car wash and could detect no leaks, not something you can take for granted with the Hurst hatch panels. Our test car had an odd mix of options. The $346 reclining leather seats plus a 6-way power driver's seat was combined with manual winding windows. The shorter seat bottom is less comfortable for the long-legged driver. The base price includes lots of courtesy lights, but you must order color-keyed seat belts. Our car had new intermittent windshield wipers, which Ford has offered for many years, and GM has offered for the past 2 years. The Magnum's hardtop window style makes for a noisy cockpit, not in keeping with its plush interior. It delivers a noisier ride over rough pavement than the new GM big cars, which use sedan-style window frame doors. In our road test of the Chevrolet Caprice Classic last month, the sound reading was just 72 decibels versus Magnum's 77 decibel reading. The GT's stiff suspension made for a ragged ride on rough pavement compared to the vault-like new Caprice. When the road gets rough, the Magnum responds with quivers and quakes. We think the Magnum GT's basic suspension will be better for all but the most macho of men. The trailering suspension's road-going manners were too teenaged for Magnum's personal luxury persona. The trailer assist suspension is like the Monaco police cars, with stiffer shock valving and 5-leaf rear springs instead of 4. But the Monaco sedan, which is set on a 2-inch shorter wheelbase, has the engine mounted 2 inches forward, giving it, in this case, some needed understeer. It's also designed to hold a large radio transmitter and emergency equipment of a squad car, which improves the ride. The same lightening measures that increased gas mileage also made the GT rougher riding. The trailering suspension spring rates have apparently remained the same as the heavier 1976 Charger XE we tested last year. However, it gave the car a neutral cornering stance that surprised us in its nimbleness and agility. For an 18-foot car, we were amazed at the way it danced around the pylons in our low-speed handling course. The Magnum made an excellent showing on our high-speed handling course, but you need a heaping helping of manly courage and sharp reflexes to manage its darting nose and a tail that's eager to swing out in a tire-smoking power slide. With the same size brakes and big sticky tires combined with lower curb weight, panic braking distances have decreased, and we consistently stop from 60 miles per hour at around 140 feet. We were impressed with last year's 210 horsepower 400 cubic inch lean burn engine. It allows you to burn unleaded or leaded fuel and is blessedly unburdened with both a smog pump and a catalytic converter. This gives it a big head start in both fuel economy and power. The revised lean burn 400 with dual exhausts and a freer flowing cold air intake has the same camshaft as last year with a mild 4,000 RPM horsepower peak, but it pulled harder at high RPM. The torque peak of 315 foot-pounds comes at 3,200 RPM. The torque flight has partial throttle downshift for satisfyingly immediate response. The 0 to 60 mile per hour time of 8 seconds is impressive, but lags behind Ford's expensive and exotic new 7.5-liter programmed combustion direct fuel injection engine. You can easily spin the tires off the line, but a gentle throttle lead-in gets the car off the mark with but a brief screeching. The quarter-mile runs all hewed closely to 16 seconds flat at 85 miles per hour. However, the 45 to 75 mile per hour acceleration ranks with street machines like the Ford Cobra II Mustang and Pontiac Trans Am. Since the lean burn adjusts spark advance according to ambient air and engine temperature, we thought it might be restricting advance a bit as engine heat climbed. The car will hit 110 miles per hour in an impressively short order with RPM at 4,600 RPM. But the cam timing puts most of the engine's punch into a narrow RPM band, so 110 miles per hour is the effective limit. Given the Magnum's excellent acceleration, we were happy with 14.5 miles per gallon when cruising at 65 miles per hour, but in the city, gas mileage drops to 11 miles per gallon. We think the 271 axle ratio might be more suitable for the car's purpose of grand touring. With that ratio, you also get the locking torque converter and the lighter 8.25-inch ring gear, which would boost cruising gas mileage. Chrysler claims the lockup converter is good for 1 miles per gallon, so we think 16 miles per gallon is easily within reach. The 271 axle would also give you quieter engine noise when cruising. We think the Magnum XE's mission of decent gas mileage and sparkling performance in an alluring shape was accomplished. Everywhere we went, people praised its styling and would ask what the car was since the word Dodge only appears in small print on the headlight cover. The interest was expressed not just by prosperous young men, but by male and female, patrician and plebeian, young and old alike. We thought it was an excellent sign for Dodge that most people didn't recognize the Cordoba silhouette. Our GT stickered at over $7,000, but most onlookers thought it was reasonable for such a plush and glamorous car. Dodge seems to have recovered that original Charger panache. They just had to rename it.